Hi there, hi everyone. Hope that you have had a great afternoon and that you are ready for our live session with GoPopUP. I'm going to be talking today to David, CEO of GoPopUP, and we're going to look at the services provided by GoPopUP and their relation to pop-up stores, specifically online pop-up stores. We find today many intermediary platforms that facilitate and assist brands in finding suitable locations for their pop-up stores. For the past decade, physical pop-up stores could be rented through these online platforms and could help brands have an easier access to locations that are provided on the market and could serve as an intermediary between owners, property owners, landlords, as well as favorite locations or locations that could be ideal. So today I'm going to be talking with GoPopUP on the importance of these platforms, and we're going to discuss the new services that they have been providing to help brands engage better with their audiences through pop-up stores. So I'm going to wait for David to connect online and we look at these together. I need to remind you as well that GoPopUP is giving today possibilities that go beyond the services, the rental services or platforms that we are finding on the market. And we are going to look at these functionalities, how GoPopUP is looking at this service and why it is important. Well, we have to understand that for the past decade, physical pop-up stores were the talk of the town. But the idea of pop-up is evolving and including the digital greatly. Therefore, it's important today to be able to capture every way possible in order to engage the brand and the target audience. These online platforms have become marketplaces. They have become places that help brands engage with their audiences, connect with them, share their products, services, and insights, etc. So it's really important to look at these services not only in terms of offering something to the audience, rather engaging with him and with the offering and engaging with the experience of getting hold of that offer. I think David is online and he will be joining me soon. I don't know if we're having a little technical fault. I'm going to... I think the connection is good, so we're just going to wait for GoPopUP to join. I think it's going to take an instant. So as I said before, we're going to talk about the importance of intermediaries and the pop-up formula and the importance of these platforms. Actually, these online platforms have become like marketplaces that facilitate the service of location. You can today actually connect and look at ideal locations that serve your brand well, and you can click or rent them as easily as you rent a hotel room. This is how people talk about these online services. It's really important for us then to understand the value these platforms in the pop-up industry, and in order for us to facilitate the services for brands and maybe to add greater value to these properties that have been left, or these commercial streets that are losing their flair. So these platforms tell brands about all the available options that they could pop in order to do their projects. I'm going to try to connect again with GoPopUP.
Hello.
Hello, David. Thank you for connecting. I think I've had a little technical fault. I'm sorry for the delay.
Okay. Do you see me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Because okay, I see now. Yeah, I see the chat. I don't see myself. That's right.
We are on the screen together, and I think our group is also being able to see you. David, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure to meet you and what you do.
Likewise.
And your audience.
Thank you. David, I need you to tell us in details about GoPopUP and about the services of GoPopUP. What does GoPopUP do?
We do a lot of things. We basically, our aim, our objective is to facilitate everything that is related with a temporary retail. So pop-up stores, pop-up events, and everything that can help the brands to connect with the right audience at the right moment, like we are doing now somehow, but more in the retail area.
Okay, so let's go into detail about these services and how they can facilitate the audience. So tell us a little bit more about the technical aspect of the platform that helps brands connect better with their audiences.
Yes, well, we are addressing both two different types of audience, let's say. One is obviously the brands that want to set up a pop-up store, physical, but now also online. And then the landlords who have spaces and they want to rent those spaces on a temporary basis. So what we do is basically we connect these two type of users or clients, and we provide them a platform, a facility in order to meet each other, to match. It's like a Tinder of spaces and brands, let's say. And then, we have a marketplace. This is how we started. Our marketplace has a large number of thousands of spaces published there that are visible to any brand or any agency that wants to do an event. And then, of course, we have services on top of that. Okay, so basically, there's a platform where people can connect by themselves and search for spaces and book them, but they can also use our personalized services to find locations that maybe they cannot find there, or they have questions, or it's in a different country that is not there apparently, or something like that. So we provide these personalized services as well.
Okay, so this is an advantage that you have over other platforms who already offer similar services on the market, because we see that there might be other online platforms who already allow customers to find locations for their pop-up stores.
Yes, I would say that there are other platforms that do similar things, but I wouldn't say, I would say that nobody does it at so extent as we do. In the sense that we can solve any problem that the brand has. So we do full projects. So in that sense, we are also like an agency. So after the location, there are many other things to do, and we have realized that the brands cannot be alone in this effort, let's say, and it's much more convenient for them to be sure that they can rely on us. Of course, they can do other things by themselves. They can hire another agency, but if they need, we can do end-to-end projects.
Okay, so if we can recap, with GoPopUp, a brand can find different types of locations through the platform. And on top of that, GoPopUp offers personalized services in order to accompany brands step by step to realize their pop-up projects in a better way or a more convenient way. So, how easy can the brand find the location? We said that GoPopUp is a marketplace putting together 1,000, maybe thousands of locations. So, how can we search for a location?
Well, I must say that it's never easy to find a location, I would say, but in fact, there's no easier way than using a platform like ours. So, in a sense, is the best option, let's say. This doesn't mean that it doesn't require some time and effort, and well, you need to identify different options and then select. But with our platform, it's well, there's a map, there's a search tool, so you can select certain number of parameters that help you to narrow the search, let's say. And then what we provide is a direct communication between the landlord and the tenant. So they can start talking, they can negotiate about the price, they can do the whole booking over the platform. So it's a very convenient service in that sense. As I mentioned, we also monitor the way that they are doing. So if they need help, we can support them, and if they need more special assistance, then they simply have to contact us, and then we help with that. So there are a number of different options. It's easier in some countries where there are a lot of supply and options. In other places, maybe it could be a little bit more difficult, but I would say in most of the cases we can find the right location for the brand.
So it's really important to highlight that through the app or through the platform, there is a full transparency of the transaction that happens between the brand and the property owner or the location owner, which is very reassuring for the brand.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for us, transparency and letting them to talk each other is very important, because this creates trust, and there are a number of questions that the landlord is the best one to answer to. So
yes.
Yeah, so it's a matter of credibility and transparency, yes.
And David, what about locations in terms of premium location and secondary location? Do you advise your brands that the locations that they are choosing might be more important or less important?
We have some locations that we consider premium. This is because this is not paid, let's say. It's really a merit that they have, because they have been used before, because we have good reviews from the tenants, because the quality of the space or the location really worth it. So yes, it's true, you can search for more premium locations if you want. They usually appear up in the search, because when a brand is looking for something, with our experience is that they value the quality the most, more than maybe the price. Of course, they want to negotiate the price and find a good deal, but quality is essential. So in that sense, it's the quality of the space, but also the quality, let's say, of the landlord. So if the landlord is helpful, if the landlord answers fast, if the landlord is really willing to make their life easy to the tenant, this is something that we also take into account.
How many days in average a brand rents a pop-up store location? On your platform, what are the average days?
That's the million-dollar question. It's difficult to answer this because it really depends on the application. There are some events that are just a product presentation or a live event that maybe it's for a weekend. But I would say that the average now in retail, in pure retail, so for sales, is about 3 months. This is most typically what the brand requests, because it's usually related to a season, like a fashion season or a kind of product that has some seasonality, let's say. And then 3 months is usually a good time in general to take benefit of the effort of doing the pop-up and getting the maximum benefit.
Great. We have a little question before we proceed. Someone is asking if the brand's nature or the brand's identity has an effect on choosing the right location.
What does it mean by identity?
If a brand maybe sells a specific type of product or has specific types of services, does this affect the choice of the location?
Well, you need to find your audience, as we said. So in the physical world, it's important to be in the location where your audience is. So this has to do with the neighborhoods, for example, with what are the main streets. But sometimes it's just the opposite. They want a very special place. They want a space that is very hidden, and then they communicate with their audience and they invite them more like a kind of exclusive event. So yes, of course, the location is important and has to do with what is the objective of the brand.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's go back to pop-up stores. As pop-up stores, why are they so important today?
Well, today we are living a lot of changes, and certainly retail, the physical retail, is having, let's say, a transformation. Okay, there are a number of threats, but also there are a number of opportunities in this. What we see is that, well, now with the confinement and all these things that is happening in most of the countries in the world, people is more used to the online shopping, for example. So the physical space, the physical retail plays every day more like a different role. So it's not like the traditional sales channel. It's more like where you create real experiences with your customers. So the physical channel has to have really a plus over the online, okay? Because otherwise you can buy anything online. So that difference makes that importance of the physical location is related to this new role, and also the profitability of the physical location has to be very related with the objective of the brand. So it's not just to sell, it's to have this experience. So in that sense, I think pop-up is providing much more flexibility than permanent locations, because you can choose the time when it's more beneficial for your brand to be there, and also you can change from one place to another. So, for example, in some brands, they need to be in many cities, but they cannot afford, of course, to have permanent locations everywhere. So that's why it's important with a good communication campaign to be in maybe 10 different countries in a year, with the same kind of presentation, but adapted to every local market.
So here we're highlighting the importance of the brand's objective, the brand's audience, and the brand physical location's ability to provide something new, something engaging that is not offered online.
Exactly.
I think that any brand today can engage in a pop-up store, especially through the services that you're offering. However, do you face any problems related to the budgets of brands and even smaller brands when they want to do pop-up stores?
Well, yes, budget is always a kind of constraint, even for the big brands. I mean, everybody has a budget. So it's important to know how much are you willing to invest in that kind of actions, okay? But it must be, in some cases, it's part of the overall marketing budget. And then what we have to see is if this channel is more profitable than other channels, like doing publicity or any other kind of action, okay? So I think in most of the cases, we can demonstrate that a pop-up action can be more profitable. So it's not really a matter of the budget, it's what I am getting in exchange of this spend that I am doing, okay? So any brand can spend any money if it's profitable, because if you can demonstrate this business case, then it's enough. Of course, there are many different solutions. So you can have solutions like shop in shop, which could be very cheap, or you can rent a huge public place like for a major event that can cost thousands and thousands of euros. So there are solutions for every budget, but the most important thing is to realize if this budget is going to be well invested or not.
Okay, perfect. Do you think, this is a question from the audience, do you think that a pop-up store could have an added value for an online business? I mean, we have seen that many online businesses wish sometimes to have a physical representation. Is a pop-up store a good idea for that?
Yeah, certainly, because we are seeing with big retailers like Amazon, for example, who are doing pop-up stores or opening physical spaces. Now the consumer is omnichannel, and it's omnichannel in both directions. So it's omnichannel in the sense that everybody that goes to a shop can buy online, but also the opposite. Everybody that is used to buy online sometimes need to go to a shop or simply enjoys going to a shop. So you cannot consider any more like separate channels. You have to consider the combination and what is going to be the experience of the consumer going from one to the other.
Sure. Okay, so here's the next question. I think that highlights the services of GoPopUp. We have seen that we have a lot of physical pop-up stores, but what you are offering today is online pop-up stores.
Yes, exactly.
So what's the difference between physical and online pop-up stores?
Well, the difference is huge, okay? Because we always prefer we are Latin at least, and we like the physical contact, and we are eager to give hacks to everyone once we finish with the COVID situation. But in fact, you can do most of the same things either in the physical channel or online, because at the end it's a matter of engaging with your audience and creating this credibility. What we have realized is that for some brands, everything related with that is quite new, and they need more help in order to do this little or big jump into the online world, not just for selling, because everybody can build an e-commerce. It's not that difficult, okay? But how do you really engage online? This is not that easy. So when we imagined the online pop-up stores, we started to transport or to transfer what you do in a physical pop-up store into the online world, okay? And what you do usually is get more in direct contact with your audience. So you have a limited audience, you have a limited number of people attending the pop-up store, because you want quality, not like quantity, okay? So if you want quantity, you can use Instagram, for example, which is a great platform for arriving to millions of people. But if you want to have this direct relationship with your customer in a very controlled environment and giving answers, personalized answers, and being able to do a product demonstration that is really credible, then it's much better to have a different kind of environment. And this is what we offer with the online pop-up stores. So what we try is to do the same that can be done with a physical pop-up, like presenting products, introducing your product into a new market or new audience, being able to demonstrate and to answer the questions and getting the feedback from your customers. So all these kind of things that you would do in a typical pop-up store. And of course, the exclusivity concept, which is very important in the physical pop-up stores, like only the invited people can go there, only these products are available there for a limited time. So you create this sense of exclusivity that is very important in a pop-up store.
If a brand wishes to do an online pop-up store, does he have to prepare things before engaging in that? Does he have to have a ready collection? Does he have to have several references? Does he have to have a stock? I mean, what is necessary and what is asked from a brand before he can develop this online pop-up?
We have created like a small life cycle for online pop-up stores, which at the end is not that different than the physical pop-up stores. So the first thing is defining what is your objective very clearly. What is your audience? What do you want to achieve? This looks like very obvious, but it's usually the step that many people step over. So first, define well your objective and define what are the kind of action that you want to create. Okay. Then the second thing is very simple. The platform makes everything, like for organizing the pop-up stores, which is like defining, of course, the date and all the details that you want to share, the communication channels that you want to share with your audience, and the description, and also the products that you want to sell specifically for that event, for example. So this is what we call the organization step. The third step, obviously, is to make promotion of that. Okay, so in that sense, we provide connection with all the social networks, so you can publish your event there very easily. And then, of course, you have to communicate with your typical audience in order to promote it and search for other channels to get more audience. Of course, we also promote the actions by ourselves, so our own users can also be aware of that. And we have page that is called the shopping mall, the shopping center for online pop-up stores, where you can go there and see everything that is available. So it's another way of engaging. The fourth step is to present. Okay, so to really run the pop-up store, where you conduct the session, you answer the question, and so on. The fifth step is to generate what we call the monetization of the pop-up store. So try to bring your customers to your e-commerce, or do some pre-sale, or any commercial action related to that. And the final step, sorry for being so long, is the feedback. Okay, collecting the feedback and being able to learn from the experience, what worked well, what could be improved, and then well, plan for the next one. So this is what we think is the full life cycle of an online pop-up store. It looks a lot, but it's in fact the same that you would do in a physical pop-up store, but it's much faster, because
what is the time frame for an online pop-up is also short, or can differ from brand to brand?
Well, yeah, I don't think people is willing to connect like for so long to a pop-up store. Our ideal time for that would be like half an hour. Also, it could be up to 1 hour, maybe. So it's a live event. It's like what we are doing now, okay, with a presenter of the product and so on. However, there's something more, because, of course, there's a period while the pop-up is announced. So you can start doing communication and buzz in order to prepare the people that is attending the actual event. So this is some time that you need to take benefit from. Also, later, after the event has finished, this is recorded, so you can share with more people. Even you cannot have like the live interaction, the message is there. And also the campaign about the products can last much more, can last days or even 1 month, the time that you want, okay? But this is like not live, is like taking benefit of this live event, and then it can take longer in terms of returning the investment that you have done with your brand.
David, would you suggest to your the brands who are working with you to do a physical pop-up store and to top it up with an online pop-up store?
Sure.
Yes.
It's I mean, the physical pop-up store I told you before, it could be 3 months, okay? So you cannot have a live event for 3 months, but you can do, for example, connections, or you can prepare like events in your physical store that then you can broadcast using the online pop-up store as well. So, for example, the opening day, you can prepare this broadcasting and make the people who is at home feel like being at the actual pop-up store, the physical one. Or you can prepare events along the time that happen there, like a conference, people making product demonstrations live in the place, but also broadcasting online. So it's a pure combination that you can do, yeah.
So we are really highlighting the importance of planning and of communications in order to boost the event and to give it greater value, which is very important, because sometimes brands, as you said, tend to forget about these steps. Most of the times, brands think that pop-up stores are easy to do and are less costly to do as compared to traditional stores. So I think we have talked a little bit about it, but how can we answer that conception? How can we tell people that pop-up stores also might need preparation, time, and money?
Well, you can achieve things with pop-up stores that you cannot achieve with a permanent store, let's say like that. Even a
Yes.
permanent store can organize an internal pop-up store in a way, like dedicating part of the permanent store to have events, for example. This is something that more related to the concept store idea, or with these, I don't know, places where the brands can organize events for the people. Okay, so in that sense, every event could be like a pop-up store in that permanent space as well. But the important concept here is that the pop-up store is a way to activate your audience. So to bring people that usually they wouldn't go there, or that they would go maybe in a different moment than when you are interested in. So investing in a pop-up store is investing in some kind of action that you cannot achieve with a permanent store. So in that sense, again, you have to make the trade-off and see if it's interesting or not. However, also in terms of pure traditional retail, physical retail, a pop-up store is usually more profitable because you pay per the use, let's say. So if you have a seasonal product, or if you want to launch a product in a different country where you are usually based on, then the best solution, the most convenient and the most affordable solution is to make a pop-up store. Even if the pop-up store is a little bit expensive because you want to make it very fancy and nice and invite 20 influencers there for the opening event and so on. This costs money, of course, but it's something that you are doing in replacement of another kind of communication that could be even more expensive and much less effective. Because what you do physically there is creating ambassadors of your brand as well. So even if you have few people, maybe 100 people, in your pop-up store opening event, these 100 people will explain a lot to their friends and to all their relatives, and they publish in the social media. So we'll get thousands and thousands of impacts out of this action.
Yes, the importance of word of mouth advocacy and viral marketing. We have a little question. Would it be a good idea to combine workshops of jewelry making, for example, that can broadcast with pop-ups selling jewelry? I think here we are asking about the importance of doing events in store and doing the live online sale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I think in this case, I mean, jewelry or luxury items in general, they are usually in the big cities, in the main streets, so in places that not everybody can afford to go, and now with the travel restrictions even more. So in a way, you can arrive to much more people that could be maybe far away, or they cannot attend, or for whatever reason they cannot go to the place where the permanent shop is. And then you can create an event that you can broadcast to anywhere, and then you can have many more attendees, even virtual attendees, to something that is happening there, or the influencers, or any kind of action that can support what you are doing in the physical space can be broadcasted and get a major audience.
Thank you.
Because of the type of product is certainly true, and also is an expensive product, so not everybody can touch it, let's say, and then it's a way to demonstrate the value in a very easy and secure way.
Perfect. David, do you see that there's a difference generally in terms of pop-up adoption or pop-up usage between luxury brands or high-end brands and startup brands or small creative brands?
I would say that the big brands, they usually use pop-up stores more for marketing, for prestige, for making big actions that have a lot of impact from the media point of view. That's true. This happens with Chanel or with Louis Vuitton or with the big car manufacturers like Porsche or all these kind of brands. Of course, when they do pop-up stores, they do like very fancy actions that have a lot of impact in terms of media, and they reuse and reuse and reuse again what they have done in their communications. The people who want to sell, they have to be more practical, and then a pop-up store can be a way to concentrate the shoppers in a moment, in a place, and then get much more conversion, much more revenue from what they are doing, just by inviting them or by creating a collateral event that supports bringing these people in.
Perfect. Many brands would now be looking forward to the tips that you can give them in order to make the most or the best out of their pop-up stores. How can you advise brands who are willing to engage in a future online or offline pop-up store?
Well, what I would say is that they contact us. They go to our webpage, www.GoPopUp.com, and see what we have there and contact with one of our agents or do a request or any of the possibilities that we offer. Because we also believe in the personal touch, and every customer has a different need, and every brand is special in a way. So I really appreciate when there's something customized, made with love and detail, because then they can get a better advice this way.
Thank you. David, one more question. GoPopUp operates on which markets? Is it a full European coverage, or are you only present in specific locations?
We are worldwide, if you want. I mean, we have partners and people who cooperate with us all over the world. Our main basis is in Western Europe. We are very, very strong in Spain, Germany, Austria, Netherlands, quite strong as well in the UK, in France, in Italy. But then after that, we have made actions in Hong Kong, in Australia, even in Latin America. So, I mean, of course, everybody has like a more core market, but we can operate worldwide, and we are willing to receive projects, nice projects for everywhere. Of course, online is completely global. I mean, for online, we don't have any border, and any brand that wants to do an online pop-up store is easy, just accessing our platform.
Perfect. Thank you, David, for this enriching conversation, for clarifying all the services of GoPopUp. And we have been very glad that you joined us and that you answered all of these questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.